looks like people are here. Better get my act together. Pretend to be a competent technical person. Monday can be full of pressures. Come on, Paul. Alright, okay. We've got a 1466. Good old 1466. Can't say no to a 1466. And this one I believe's got keyboard issues. So, it's had the flex replaced in it between the trackpad and the main board, and that didn't change anything. So it's either a completely dead keyboard, but the power button does work. But I say we open it up, look for the usual signs of damage on the 1466s. Fake it till you make it. You are absolutely correct. Let's see, overhead. Gee, now my overhead's too big and I gotta back it up. I need two overhead cameras, one for working on iPhones and one for working on MacBooks. Dunk. Because the field of view just isn't able to take both. You either get no resolution on the iPhones or you get no field of view on the MacBooks. What am I after? Sadly I have to resort to my big pentalobe for this one. Still got the one Baku driver because I haven't found a PL4 replacement that I like. I do have the WeHarf ones, but you can gauge my opinion of the WeHarf one by the fact that I'm using this very old, very heavy, clunky, not so great quality Baku driver instead. Having some frame rate drops. I am running a little high on the CPU. Let's just quit that. See if that improves. Hey Travis. This is your New York's secret lab. Yeah, if I was living in New York. You're going to have to do something about that. There seems to be a persistent confusion between myself and Paul S. In spite of the fact that Paul S. does not have much hair and he's a military person, as opposed to me, which has a heap of hair and more of a pacifist. Alright. First glance, this looks clean. It's a 00165 board. You can very quickly tell that it's a 00165 versus a 3437 if you look at the programming connector. The 165 has a very short connector, whereas the 3437 has one about twice that width. Let's see. Looks pretty clean there. It looks pretty dirty there. Have a look under the microscope. Back it out a bit. Let's pull the power out because we don't want any data accidents. So we know this is a keyboard problem. At least it's presenting as a keyboard problem, but we're still going to check over everything. So supposedly this flex has been replaced. I'll find my appropriate tweezers. Yeah, you guys are not appropriate. Oh man. Paul S. drinks glue. I haven't seen that. No. Oh right, I couldn't. Let's have a closer look at this connector, see if we've got any floating pins. Probably we won't, but if you remember there was that previous job we had and we thought the DC inboard connector was okay, but it wasn't. Because if the cracks are fine enough, then yeah, they won't visually show up too well. That seems fine. Oh, I'm going to take the battery out. It makes it easier for me to look around. I wonder if this could be as simple as maybe a bad trackpad. TX4. No, I should be using TX5 for this. I do need to color code my drivers now. see. Jans, I mean, you know, the actual people that I used to watch was the Dodgy Brothers as opposed to the Shonky Brothers. So now I've got to go and have a look at Shonky Brothers and see what they are. Because it was the Dodgy Brothers from a comedy TV series called Fast Forward in Australia. Okay, we've got grit and junk on this battery, so something's coming in around there. It's not a lot, but it's just worth to note these things. These keyboard flexes are actually a bit of a pain to get out. I don't know why Apple had to do this whole reverse upside down covered underneath thing. It's bad enough getting them unclipped, then the real fun's getting them back in. Okay, there's a little bit of food there, but yeah, I wouldn't call that damage. Come on, zoom out. Get out, get out, get out. Seems tolerable. Oh, hello. There we go. So what's happened here, eh? Wow, that's a mess. Something got really hot there. Managed to blow its balls out. Hey, Joshua. Yeah. So we've got a whopping great big short of junk there. And we've got balls blown out there. So this is going to need a new trackpad. Yeah, it's a real mess. I wonder if I can actually repair this one. If it's even worth it. Trackpads are not the cheapest things to replace here in Australia. Okay, let's get the data out. So at least that's a pretty big smoking gun. I'd definitely say that's it. But while I've got the machine here, I certainly may as well take the time, take the board out, and check that I am not going to miss anything else. Nothing quite like the joy of thinking you fixed up one thing only to send it back and they bring up another thing and you're like, damn it, I should have checked that before I sent it back. The sort of thing where you really should have checklists in your shop, you know, and you sort of tick off all the stuff that you need to check, like, is the camera working, is the Wi-Fi working, does this button work, does that button work? Because when you're in the rush of everything, you can very easily just sort of go, yeah, it works fine, get it out of here, next job, and you're not creating twice as much work when it comes back. Yeah, there was a fair bit of corrosion around what looked like one of the controllers there. I don't know whether that was a keyboard or a trackpad controller, but yeah, it was a mess. So I'm definitely blaming the trackpad at this point, but since it has got that corrosion on it, I do want to go over the board, check the other side, because if corrosion got in there, then what's to say it didn't get in somewhere else here. Usually on the 1466s, if you do have keyboard issues, then the trackpad is one of the things that you do check. Because everything goes through that. Let's see, I'm looking for my... Damn it, T6, where's my T8? I seem to perpetually be losing my T8 driver. It's like I have no other use for it in this workshop, but I keep losing it. Let's see. I've got a T7, that would do the job, but a T8 would have been better. Specifically, I need a more sort of standard size one for these hinges. Let's see, Agent Flame. Question, looking to get into board repair more seriously. Should I get an amp scope first and keep using crappy iron, or should I get a new iron and get a new scope? Yeah, it's a good question. I'll probably get the scope first. As someone just said, you're only as good as what you can see, and that's mostly true. It's true enough that even if you've got a dodgy iron, you can at least apply it in the correct places, rather than having a very precise iron and applying it in all the wrong places. Ah, damn camera connector. Okay, that's off. Can't see any notable corrosion points there. Where's the best place to buy donor boards? Probably AliExpress at this point. And they're all expensive. Except for the really old ones. I think I can see some corrosion. Is that corrosion? No, it's just junk. In all honesty, I thought this machine would have already had that trackpad checked, but that was just one of those assumptions made that was incorrect. It looks like some weird creature exoskeleton. Yeah, I'm not even going to guess what that is. Solder and flux, if you get a nice kester 6337 grade, about, yeah, there's some corrosion there too. Flux, Amtech, flux that Lewis sells is pretty good. You can sometimes get better depending on specific circumstances, but realistically, if you're just starting out, then yeah, just pick up a tube of the Amtech flux. Yeah. Well, this machine was going to take a dive in the near future with those corrosion spots. Yeah. But they're not the direct failure cause at this point. So I'm just marking some red so I can spot where I've been. Yeah, something's going on around that clock chip. And we've got corrosion at the base of that. So overall it's not failed, it's certainly been exposed to something and it's on its way. So if you gave this board another 6 months of use, it's probably then going to, those corrosion spots would have eaten through and it certainly would have begun failing. This has been reworked. Yeah, look at this. So someone's not used enough solder there, enough flux rather, and see they've got all these daggy solder drag points where they've pulled the soldering iron tip away and it hasn't cured properly. It hasn't had enough flux around it, so it's just dried out. I wonder if this is a Apple refurb. Does it have doesn't have a white sticker on it, but it's definitely had rework done to it. What were they doing up there? I wonder what that is. Hey Greg, good to see you. Let's see. Let's bring up the 00165. What part have they been stuffing around with? Just up in the notch here. Okay, so these two, Q1840, CPU, PCH, something reset, JTAG isolation. Oh, Nick's got the easy one, a nice main shot. Lucky you, Nick. I mean, this technically does look like it's an easy-ish one, but yeah, it's got a lot of lurky. Yeah, look at that. See this part here? It's got that white fuzzy sort of corrosion. So it's gonna, in about 3 or 4 months, die. Maybe. Man, I can't quite get the... Yeah, when they start looking like that, they're on their way. So unless you do clean up the board, it will fail. I'm kind of curious why they were stuffing around with the JTAG and stuff like that. I wonder if they weren't sure what they were chasing. Got a MacBook here stuck on PP5VSOS 5VS4 at 0 volt. Well, Brian, that's probably an easy one. At least it's not PM Sleep S4L missing. There seems to be a large portion of a wash that's come through the board. You can see, can you see the color? Oh, let me switch over to main. I don't know how well this is going to show up. It's showing up nicely here on mine. But there's a lighter area here. And then the darker areas here. And it just doesn't really... I don't know, it's... I'm really starting to think this has been ultrasonic and it wasn't rinsed off properly. And maybe that's what's causing the corrosion. Because it is all over the board. Oh, we'll clean up the spots that we don't like and we'll go from there. I'm not sure if it was water set up. Pretty sure it's been through an ultrasonic and they just didn't finish the job properly. They didn't rinse it properly. So I'm going to reflow this area just to get it to come good, you know, behave itself in the future, and everything else that I saw that was a bit dodgy. Brian, no, there's no refurb stamp on this one, so that's what's throwing me. Normally they have a white sticker on them that gives away the fact that they're a refurb. This one did not. Be interesting to see whether this is leaded solder or lead free. Given by the shine, I'm inclined to think it's leaded, but we'll see. It's not a guarantee. Some of the lead frees will shine nicely. Yeah, maybe it is lead free. Hey, ASMR Camber. Oh, well, we'll just fix it up anyway, manually. Those joints are much better now. Now I'm doing what they did. Hey Sparkies, how's it going? Hey Jan, oh wait, I already said hello to you. Not enough flux there, come on. Ah. Tell you what, my power bill is going to go through the roof. Can you imagine being the air conditioner in this room, where you're dealing with a kilowatt of extra heat coming off the hot air station. Then you've got an ultrasonic cleaner with a built-in heater of about 200-300 watts. And then you've got a soldering iron, so let's say another 100 watts. You got all the lighting, you got the computers, you got the fan assembly, that's another 200 watts. Yeah, it's a tough job being an air conditioner in this world. Let's fix up that too. Just a flux and boil with a bit of touch up on the ends. Should do the trick nicely. If you do buy the syringes from Lewis, make sure you get the plunger and whatnot. It's no fun trying to get the flux out without a plunger. Unless you are friendly with your local equine veterinarian service, and then you can just get them to give you one of the 30cc plungers. Fortunately, we're on very good terms with our vet, which is not surprising given how many thousands of dollars they've picked up from us. Yeah, this was all a flux and boil area. There wasn't anything specifically bad on the joins directly, but it definitely had some dodginess around it. So a lot of this work is predominantly precautionary work as opposed to repair work. Sparkies, you can have your 105. I'm going to be more content at my 80 or so. God damn it. Yeah, Travis, there will be. By the way, people, if you do try to, on Facebook and things like that, if you are trying to add me as a friend or something like that, please don't take it personally that I don't accept the requests. My Facebook friend list is for those people who actually do pretty much know for a while. It's nothing personal against anyone. It's just simply a case of I find it easier to keep things nice and clean. My personal stuff is personal. And I do have a business page. But given that you can message me anyway, there's no real reason for me to do the whole friendship thing. Like I say, it's not a personal slight against anyone. It's just me keeping my world separate. I'm pretty happy with this so far as maintenance is going. That's good. Martin Lewis, please bro for a best friend forever. Hey, Donald Elliott. Let's see. This isn't Minecraft. Let's play. Hey, Greg. Let's see. When you use DD Rescue, do you put the image file on a USB 3 hard drive? Greg, the way I have my DD Rescue system set up is that I have a normal PC. It's only an Atom PC. I have my 8TB storage drive, which I actually need to replace soon. It's getting pretty old. I might jump up to something like a 15 or 12, something around that size. And then I boot from a separate Linux drive from that. So I boot into the Linux drive. I have a docking module which has a USB controlled power switch on it. And so I load up whatever I'm trying to rescue. I clone the image of that device onto the 8TB drive, and then of course do all my work off the image rather than off the drive itself. Hey, Dragon Lady from Philippines, welcome. Thank you for joining. So I don't use USB for storing things. I find, particularly with Linux, there's issues still with USB drivers for mass storage at times. So yeah, I keep everything on the SATA bus directly. The fix is don't use Facebook in your name. No, the fix for me is just ignore everybody's requests. Do you leave your hot air station at a certain temperature and control the heat with distance from the board? Bad boy, for MacBooks, yeah, I basically do leave it. So whatever device I'm working on, pretty much just leave it as it is. So for MacBooks, I'm at 460 and 110. For iPhones, I'm at 420 and 60, and then yeah, I adjust with distance. Let's see. Alright, that's that. I guess I better find myself a trackpad now. I'm fairly sure I've got one around here. It was one of the few things that I decided to get stock of, assuming I can find the damn box. Yeah, it's one of those things that you buy, you see it around the workshop so many times, and you eventually lose it. Is it in here? Might be in here. Lots of fans. So many fans. No air conditioners. That's an old dad joke. Actually, you know what would be the easier? I'll just put it into a test chassis. And now I have to find my test chassis. 3437, bad screen. I don't think that one's going to work. What have we got in here? Man, I should just leave the lids off these things. Owen Payne. Hi, I'm starting board repair. What microscope do you recommend for a beginner? Owen, to be honest, I imagine everyone else has already said so, but the AM scope, yeah, 4TP. I'm fairly sure you don't want the 4TPZ or something. The Z's got a different barrel size or something. It's in my links, my repair items page. Let's see if I can bring that up. Dum bum 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 bum. So pldaniels.com, repair items. Here we go. Yeah, go to that page and you'll get to see it. Oh, what am I doing? Ah, yes, the board. The board's turn off the loud extractor. That needs to be my next project with woodworking whatnot, is improve the extractor situation. I think I'm finally going to relent, since I've had these benches for almost 2 years, I think. Anyway, I've had the benches a while, so now it's time to start putting holes in them. So I'm going to put a whopping great big slot just around about here. And I'm going to have 2 of the filters. Let's see, get these filters out. So this one's a bit dirty now. Anyway, I'll get 2 of these. Come back, yep. And then that should provide enough airflow and enough filtering. I could use just one, but I kind of want to put 2 so that I have a lower effective pressure on the fan assembly. It means the velocity of the air being drawn through it will be slightly lower, but I'm hoping that the bulk, we should have an overall greater liters per second transfer rate, and that should make things better, one hopes. Have I got enough there? Is that everything? Who knows? Got a mid-2013 orange light, no fan. Well, could be so many things for that. Hey Ed, 2677. Okay, we're just plugging in bits and pieces here. I am looking for my MagSafe 2 cable. That's pretty bad. It's been long enough, as in a few days, since I've used my MagSafe 2 cable, and now I've already lost it. It's down here. It's down here. I've just got to find it. Oh, MagSafe 1. Ah, here we go, MagSafe 2. I worked out how I ended up blowing up my iPhone Octopus system, by the way. So I had, let's see if I can show this. Normally out of the multimeter, not out of the multimeter, out of the DC power supply, I've got these alligator grips, and then whatever I want to connect up, I just plug into the back of them. Now I think what happened is somehow I managed to put this Octopus unit onto the power at the same time. Oh yeah, that's how I did do it, yeah. So I had the MagSafe connected up like this and the Octopus plugged in on the back of them. Now that Octopus strap thingamajig is only rated for around about 6 volts before the fuse dies, and so I go along and put 18 volts in, and that killed the fuse. The polyfuse can only do its job usually up to a certain voltage rating, and on polyfuses it's quite a bit lower than a typical like glass fuse. And in the case of the ones that are in that little red brick, they're only around about 6 or 5 volt rated. Okay, we're booting up here. Actually, I need to test the keyboard, so I really should use my Ubuntu boot. We've got a bong, so everything's better with a bong. Are those your repair items this Travis? Yes, they're the items that I'm mostly using. I'll have to go back and revise them in the near future, I think. Okay, why don't I have I've got no light output? Or is this a real slow? Oh, there we go. Okay, so trackpad's working. This will actually lock up, so it's kind of pointless me running it. Let's try this one. The reason why the MRI will lock is because it's for up to, well, it'll do the 3437, but the 165 is too new. So YouTube these days is really wonky. That Lewis AMA video did not show up my subs when he was like, yeah, mine was the same. I got a notification through the phone, and then I went to the web, to my computer to have a look, and it wasn't anywhere. So it was really odd. Thank you, Travis. I appreciate that. I'm gonna wait for this. This one takes a little longer to come up. This is just a generic PC. I'm not sure if it is Nod 32, Nope, something else entirely. Blast. Not really sure why it's doing that. Hey Yoming. I'm going to spend more time stuffing around trying to get this to boot. Really thought I had a generic... Oh, there it is. Just got to curse more in the universe to make things happen my way. Well, I wonder how his dinner is going anyway. It's going to be interesting to see how his subscriber numbers take a jump after now that he's hit 1 million. I'll be happy to get to 100,000 one day if I ever get there. Tray, yes, the flashing folder means it can't find the drive. The other thing that you may come up with is a just a solid circle with a cross through it. That usually means it has found the drive, but it doesn't understand the partition table or the partitions that are available. Mr. Riddle, where should I get my lunch in Australia? Oh, yeah, good question. Don't know. I mean, you can always get the traditional things like McDonald's and Hungry Jack's, or what, a Burger King, that's what they call it. Pizza Hut, all that sort of stuff. Okay, let's see if this even works. Okay, keyboard is running. A Roo burger, I can't say would be very nice. The big problem with kangaroo, it's a good meat, is that it doesn't have any fat in it. It's a very lean meat. If you ever had ostrich, then it's kind of similar in that respect. So you end up having to put a whole lot of fat just to get your flavour back. And so you end up pretty much back at... Yeah, okay, this is fine. Oops, pressing the wrong buttons there. So basically, we had a bit of corrosion on the board. We've done some preventative maintenance. I'll give that an ultrasonic clean. It needs a new trackpad. Not on this one, obviously, on the other one. I'm trying to think whether this one's new. No, it's not. It's got some slight marks on it. So it wasn't a major board repair as such, but it was good to get a proper diagnosis on that. Okay, so that's theirs. So I'll just fix this up, ready for the next steps. It will have to go through the ultrasonic, and currently the ultrasonic's sitting in 36 degrees, so it's got a little way to go before it gets to 65. About 3 or 4 hours probably. Yep. Oops. Ow. What on earth? Something just grabbed me then. By the way, if you watch, if you're a movie type person, sci-fi, space type movies, the movie Life with Ryan Reynolds and some other people, that's pretty much dead on arrival. Don't bother wasting your time with it. It was very, very not worth watching. Saved yourselves a few minutes of your life there. I was trying to watch it last night, and it was difficult. It's always a bad sign when they start out the movie with them talking all sorts of techno bollocks, which actually makes no sense at all, because they're trying to sound fancy. It's like, you have no idea what you're saying. And I think Ryan Reynolds did the best move and got himself out of that movie first, before anyone else. When you watch it, you'll know what I mean. But don't watch it. The only halfway decent thing for Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh. What about Amityville Horror? Funnily enough, I haven't even seen Deadpool yet. I want to, but it's not on Netflix or Stan. So I guess that's off my list until then. Hey Teresa. Hey Mike Peck. Yes, the 3437 is a nice board to work on. The 165 is slightly less nice, but yeah, it's a little more temperamental. But overall, yeah, the 3437 or the 165, if that's all you get to work on, then you're in a pretty good spot. Because they do have some dependable quirks that they get, and so you can go through a lot of them, repairing a lot of them without having to use your brain too much. And I'm not really bothering with that sort of thing. I've never been one to really bother. If I can't get it through my, how could you say, legal channels, then I'm just sort of like, stuff it. And particularly these days, I don't have the time. As it was almost impossible to watch the show. I think I got interrupted 3 or 4 times. Wondering, should we try and fix that trackpad or not? Oh, damn it, bad boy. Why is it a letdown? I was going to watch that. Well, I was starting to watch that. And now you're telling me it's a letdown? That sucks. Now, half me wants to say to you, well, why was it a letdown? But then they'll probably give away a lot of the thing. To be fair, I mean, that's a hell of a thing for them to try and, you know, what am I trying to say here? Wouldn't be easy trying to come up for follow-up to Breaking Bad. I need a bit of lighting here. When I put my hand over here, it shadow casts from the light source. I really need more lighting above my head. Okay, what's going on here? What am I missing here? Am I being dumb? Maybe that grub screw has to come out. Oh wow, that's in tight. That's in way tight. Nope, still not the cause. Why the hell won't this come out? The new Brad Pitt space movie was also garbage, was it? What was it? Add something? Ad Astra, that's it. Alright, I'm genuinely feeling a bit on the stupid here, but what? Why can't I get this out? Normally they just slide right on out. I have seen Interstellar, yes, with Matthew McConaughey or whatever. I mean, they sort of stretched things a bit, but overall it was, you know, pretty tolerable bit of watching. Hey Kane, Fix Protec, thank you. Alright, I am losing my mind. Why can't I get this out? Normally that should just slide back and slip out. Wow. Oh, I know why. Damn you people for not reminding me. Alright, you all get an F on your attendance grades. It can't come out that way. It's got to come out through the bottom, like a bad iPhone 7 home button. Teresa, I actually like the new Star Trek series, yes. Yeah, there's probably going to be people throwing up and unsubscribing right now. Like, how could you? You couldn't possibly like that. It goes against all the basic canon of Star Trek. I hate you, Paul. There we go. I was just going the wrong direction on it. I like the new Star Trek because it actually is, yeah, they're trying to do something new with it. I was never a grand fan of the old sort of Star Trek. I always found a little bit too, I don't know how to describe it. I have my doubts whether this is going to be repairable on the grounds of the fact that we have balls being spat out. But I say we give it a whirl. Yeah, why not? Let's do that. Now normally I'd like to take it off the trackpad pad, but maybe we can't quite do that today. Yeah, let's find my overfill hook. Buried somewhere in here. I was supposed to get the vacuum cleaner in here today, but well, I forgot. Overfill hook. Deep Space Nine was your favourite. I never really watched that. Except making lots of people cry today. Next Generation, that was Wheels in that one, wasn't it? Yeah, people are going to scream now. How dare you call him Wheels? Yeah, I'm really not what you might call your typical nerd. I really don't get into a lot of that stuff. But to be fair, I don't think there is such thing as a typical nerd, as it were. It's just everybody has their interests, and so be it. Yeah, there's no conforming. Isn't half the fun of the fact that you're not like everyone else, just like everyone else? Now say after me, I am an individual. I am unique. There's nobody like me. It's funny, when you are at school and you sort of find out, say, that you're on the geek slash nerd side of the spectrum, you always complain about how bullies are so brutal to you. You know, they beat you up physically and all that sort of stuff. They take your food, or they throw your hat around and make you chase it back and forth. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. But when you think about it, nerds themselves are actually equally bad at being bullies. I mean, if you don't know pi to 100 places or something, they'll ostracize you out of the club. Or yeah, they're perfectly capable of being just as nasty. And then when they get older, they create companies like Apple and Microsoft, and then they force you to pay them money to make up all that lunch money that you stole. So, in my opinion, nerds and bullies are really, for the most part, two sides of the same coin. And in the middle you get the normal people, whatever normal is. And if you think about it, say you take your stereotypical jocks, you know, your footballers, quarterbacks at school. Now, if we're playing the game of stereotypes, so they'll beat you up at lunch or whatever. But then the people that hire those people are usually the business savvy, accounting, whatever nerds that got beaten up, and then they just put these quarterbacks through the meat grinder, chew them up, take their talents, spit them out, and leave them wrecked for the rest of their lives. I mean, what do you get, maybe 30 years out? You get to 30 years of being a quarterback, and then that's it, you're over. You were the school punching bag, yeah, that's no fun. I've been there, experienced it, no fun at all. You don't get to wear hearing aids at school without being picked on most of the time. Tough winning over girls when you sing higher than them. No, that's a new one. Then again, there might be just the one, and you only need to find that one person in life who finds that exactly what they're looking for. Yeah, Jared, exactly. Yeah, in the end, nerds tend to run the world, so maybe they do win after all. You go through the hellish fires of the first 15 years of your life, and then once you're outside of that, you're free to go and make life hell for all the others. Alright, now the problem I'm going to have here is that I've got no flippin' clue what the values are of these. Particularly the capacitors. The resistors you can sort of get away with guessing, but the capacitors, no idea. It's not the sort of thing you can just measure off. Capacitors tend to be a bit tricky, and the worst thing about capacitors, you actually don't know what their voltage ratings are. And that is really the bigger problem. Bad boy, I don't wear them anymore. That's why I invented the internet, so I didn't have to wear hearing aids anymore. Obviously I'm lying through my teeth about inventing the internet, but hey. It was actually Thomas Jefferson that invented it. Again, more lying. Yeah, so this is where the problem is. We've got no idea what the values are, and I don't think I've got a donor for this. I suppose maybe in the spirit of science I should actually try and determine what those values are. I'm fairly sure this trackpad came from... I've got multiple missing ones now. I'm fairly sure this trackpad came from a damaged screen machine, so the chassis itself is fine. But mostly if we can get the resistor values, there'll be a good start. But I have a feeling that this thing in the middle here is a piece of sticky tape on my tweezers. I have a feeling that's actually an inductor, coil, filter, whatever you want to call it. 10 microfarad, 15 volts. Jan, I think you're bollocksing me. Hey, Doug Wheeler. Yeah, no schematics or board views for these things. This has to be reverse engineered. And like I said, it would have been real nice if they were all resistors, but they're not. So you've got one resistor, and the rest are... actually, that's a cap. That second one could be a filter. Damn it, keep losing my spot here. So that actually is a cap. Okay, so I've got 3 caps there. We could do something crazy, like given the size of them and everything like that, I could estimate maybe that we could just drop in 100 nanofarad, 50 volt decoupling caps. Well, Aaron, I can get one tomorrow, but I'm just doing this for the sake of interest. It'd be interesting. Especially if you get that one time where it's a long weekend, everything's shut, stuff like that. Oh, I'm sure Apple's got schematics for these. Yeah, you're a dead short there, buddy. Actually, everything should be a dead short because that's why soldables are squeezing out of it. Except that's not. Huh. Yeah, it really is more a case of, for interest's sake. Now the big problem is going to be, this is an underfilled chip, which means these could well pop out. Pop some balls out without us intending to. I'm going to drop down to iPhone level. And just do some Jesser brutality here. Although she does it if... Oh, no, we've screwed it. The pooch is screwed. That's a terrible term, Paul. That's dead. Bin job. This is why I normally like to take the actual boards off. But it's quite hard to get the boards off. There's a very strong double-sided adhesive there. So what I'll do is I'll just put this in the trash, the spare parts trash. This one here, so we'll just order one. Let me just make sure that I actually do have them available on stock for order. Alcohol can work. I find, yeah, just sort of like 100-degree heat usually does a better job. See, I'm just logging into my account. Alpha parts, A1466. There's probably 2 different ones. Okay, trackpad, 13 to 17. Holy sweet frickin' Bridget. I don't know why, but they've just gone up in price considerably. God damn. Wow. Compare them to Union Repair and see how much Union wants. Over $70 to get it delivered. I mean, yeah, pay a bit over 70 Australian dollars and it'll be here tomorrow. And that's why sometimes it's better to repair them. Hey Les P, Emu Plains, New South Wales. Not too far from here. Yeah, we compare to say Union Repair and they're $39 US, but at the moment that ends up working out around about $80 by the time I add postage and everything, so yeah. Run jumpers to cap, yeah, no, not happening. Right, well, That's fine. We fix that up. We'll get a new trackpad ordered in, even at the annoyingly elevated price. Yeah. So the hot air just ate through that. It probably may still work, but not today. Not today. We'll stick that in a tiny little baggie so I don't lose the parts. Where's my box of baggies? Magnet. So is this 4066. Hey Peter, Crystal, sorry. Yeah, I'm just putting everything back into the box. So we've got to wait for the ultrasonic cleaner to get up to temperature, and we've got to order in that trackpad. Kind of thinking I should order 2 of them, to be honest, even though they are expensive as feck. 2 update. Yeah. Check out. Yeah, and Australia generally does get hosed with that sort of stuff, which is interesting considering our proximity to where a lot of this stuff comes from. Fortunately for me though, for shipping, funnily enough, on these, it doesn't cost me anything. It's overnight for free. It better be overnight. Worst case scenario, it's 2 days. Wait, what did I just order? I swear I ordered 2 and yet it only charged me for 1. I'll take that. Let's see. Bugger. I put 2 and I put update and the website didn't acknowledge, so now I've just got 1 coming. Oh well. Oh well. Maybe the universe has its reason for doing that to me. Maybe it just wants to be maybe it just wants to be a phallic today and do me over in a bad way. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. I'm gonna see if I can fix this up. Sadly, it was buy one get one. I don't know why the website didn't retain that I actually had bought 2 or requested 2. Alright, so this is a whatever thingamajig. This is a lightning connector. Not lightning, what am I talking about? USB-C connector thing. And in the process of doing my testing and whatnot, I managed to float this connector off. So now I'm going to try and float it back on. And it's going to be fun because these do not like heat at all. I think I might touch up those pads that have these ones here that I got missing. Put a little bit of solder onto them. Oh, thanks Peter. It's surprisingly difficult to get things right on YouTube chat. I think it takes a lot of practice over the years to be able to proficiently do the work and also chat. Heat under the cable is how this came apart the first time. Yeah. I was trying to get a shield off the board, and it decided, yo bro, I can do that, but I'm going to take out your USB-C connector while I'm at it. Ah, knew there was something wrong. No fume extraction. And again, the only reason why I'm doing this is because these things are about, I think about 25 US for me to buy. Oh, Peter, yeah. People calling me Daniel. Dear Lord. It's like, just, okay, don't kill me now, but come on. How do you get Daniel out of Paul Daniels? I guess it sort of does just happen by accident. But it's amazing how often that happens. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to flow this and... is there a suggestions thread or something for Flex Boardview? Rob, you can just email me, or you can raise your suggestion right now, and I'll see if I can potentially give you an answer why it may not be possible, or whether I'm just going to be a big jerk about it. I'm good at being a big jerk about a lot of things in Flex Boardview, mostly because I do spend a tremendous amount of time coming up with ideas or trying ideas and discarding probably 95% of them before they get to the user stage, release stage. Some things you sort of think, oh yeah, that's going to be brilliant, and it just doesn't work out. Almost. Shoot. Jared, the way you get that is Richard is just I should say, Richard is the long form name. DRCK is the short form. I really don't know how they originally came up with that. It's probably something from the 40s, maybe the 30s. But certainly calling someone a Richard Cranium is something I've known of for quite a while. At least they aren't calling you Lawrence. Yeah, that's a good point, Teresa. Although, that's not so bad. Have there been requests if there would be an option to underlay with the real image of the board? Rob, yes, there have. And it is something that I've been looking at. And it was actually discussed probably last week again. Because I got my scan around, I was having a look at the existing boards. The problem is the data file size. Because if you want to make a decent job of it, then you need to scan it around about 4800 dpi, and it adds a few megabytes to there's an average around about 3 megabytes per board file. So yeah, it's definitely been thought about. Still may yet do it, but it'll probably be with some other features. If I touch those center pins, the vertical upright ones, I basically ruin the connector. Because what will happen is you'll get this layer of solder on them, and it'll push out the pins. Yeah, this is slightly delicate work. What doesn't help is that the flux, like water, optically changes things. Yeah, the refraction index. And okay, we've got a bit of solder there we don't want. We might be able to get that off. So where you're aiming is not the same as where it goes. That blob has been persistent. And there's one or two missed ones up the top. Rob Brown, force of necessity, eh? Okay, we'll put some flux down, then we're going to give this a reflow, and we're not going to touch it, we're just going to let it reflow on itself, and hopefully it will come good. It's probably perfectly good for testing now. Yeah, just get rid of that junk. There we go, it's doing a good job wicking up now. Hey Mac. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Like I said, in most cases you wouldn't bother doing this, but you know, I do try to preserve what parts I can. The best thing is we haven't melted the plastic, so I consider that a win. That's usually what happens, is you try to reflow these things or repair them and you just end up melting them. Rob, I wouldn't mind a micro pencil, but I really would want to buy another. I'd probably get a FM203 station. So at least then I've got the possibility of getting a, what do you call it? Oh man, the paint's coming off that. That's different. Then I can at least maybe get tweezers later. For the, whether they're dodgy or not, doesn't matter. Yeah, a world without flux would be no fun at all. Which is pretty much the world a lot of hobbyists live in. Myself included when I was a youngster. You know, you solder it and that was it. And if you didn't get it right, you'd add more solder to get the flux out of the solder. Rinse and repeat, and if you didn't get that right, you desoldered it and tried again. And it wasn't a very efficient way of doing things. What didn't help is that a lot of the time the flux that you could get was either extremely runny stuff or it was like a brick and you had to make it up yourself. I'm pretty happy with that. It almost looks factory. Almost. Yeah, it's the 203 with the dual ports, yeah. Hey Pedro, good to see you. My wife was asking about you last night. She was inquiring as to what sort of cat situation you had there. Because she's seen you commenting on my posts a fair bit. Black Sharpie will fix it up. That's a good idea, Doug Wheeler. But then again, at least if it's like this, I know it's the one that I did. So there we go. Got ourselves a revitalized connector. That is for the MacBook Air 1932 and similar type machines. Oh man. Pedro, why aren't you a mod? I imbue you with the power of the burden of power. More kitty videos will come in due time. Okay, so we've got a phone here, the possible backlight issue. This is the next job. Need a magnetic pad. Marvelous. Arnold G, well, the T2 chip does reduce a certain range of repairs. I think overall it's not really going to change things profoundly. Because a lot of the stuff that does die in these cases really is stuff that is entirely repairable. I get a moderate number of 1932s in here, and they've got the T2 chip that you can repair them. So yeah, it does stop some level of the repairs, but it doesn't stop all the repairs. And most of the time when you're dealing with liquid damage, usually it's some sort of power circuitry that's been knocked out, or the discretes that have been knocked out, rather than the complex chips. Oh, okay, so this battery at some point... Oh, it's a floater. Cool. Looks like we had an explosive zit on the battery. Fun, fun, fun. Why have we got a missing connector there? Has this been put in... What? Where is the flex for the... Okay, this one's going to be interesting. First thing I have to do is find out what's been done. Okay, battery's floating around, but that's fair enough. Right, so the home button's there. Okay, so the sensor flex has been ripped off. YouTube's like button is broken. Let's have a look under the microscope, see if we can see anything in particular on the... Yeah, it looks like we've got some fusing going on between two pins there, but that's on the touch. Time for me to change my pins too, by the way. My tweezers, I mean. Okay, that's just a piece of junk. That's a piece of junk. The connector has been absolutely smashed to smithereens. How normal. We got a whopper. Okay, this is interesting. That looks like corrosion there, and it is. But feeling around it, it's also fused. It's also burnt itself. So what could have... Oh man, that's been smashed up too. Really, who are the ham-fisted bastards that do this to iPhones? I mean, to smash up connectors like that, you've got to put in a pretty reasonable amount of force. I mean, it's not massive amount of force, but it's not insignificant either. Whoa. And someone's been grinding away at you? What the hell? What is going on? Okay. Oh, maybe this person works as a metal worker, because that all looks like metal filings to me. That, or it's a dormant time traveling replicator weirdo thing out of The Day After Tomorrow, and if I drink its blood I'll be able to time travel. Yep, that's gotta be what it is. Oh, sweet. What the hell? How do you manage that? I could almost... what do you... What? Yeah... I mean, yeah, I can replace that, but... Why? There's corrosion there, there's corrosion down here. I'm not sure I even should be playing with this one now. But yeah, that looks like someone's a metal worker. Nuts and proud. Hope your kitty cats are good. Doug Wheeler. I've been tossing things around. Nope. Oh, Nell's here, is he? Hey, Lethal One. Didn't show up to the million subscriber party. Yeah, I know. It's a bit of a schlep for me to get on the plane and fly over there. You bunch of ungrateful bastards. Besides, I thought Lewis was having a private party at the moment. Ah, Doug. Well, I've got to be checking these things, Doug. Never know. I could drop the ball somewhere. Yeah, pretty damn sure this person's... Or at least they like using a grinder, that's for sure. Yep. That's some serious workshop grinding stuff. Fancy. Amazingly, the camera probably still works, but yeah, you can't really fix that up, unfortunately. You will not get all those bits of metal out. It just won't happen. Hey, Ernest McCullum, how do you manage that? So yeah, I really don't know how some people do so much damage to these things. Okay, we're just using a big neodymium magnet to pick up any of the stray bits of metal that are coming around. Now, primarily this thing has, of course, the backlight filter, so we're going to focus on that. And I have a feeling we may find that filter, or whatever it is under there, it has something to do with the backlight. So we've got a 6 plus. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to do a flex board view. Somehow or another. No, one of the machine was lagging a bit. I had a few copies of flex board view open. Whoops. 6 natural. Oh, 6 plus. Guess I better get a schematic up for it. And 6 plus. Thank you. Right, and we are looking at... Okay, that middle connector. These here. FL2037 is my guess. Yep. Oh, it's 5V7, alright. 5V7 is used to drive the... Okay, why isn't that searching? Quit. I guess this is non-searchable. Not found? What? Oh, you're crapping me. This is a problem that we come across a lot in the data that I've been working on. In this case, the part is incorrectly named. I wonder if it's been fixed. Yeah, let me just do some git pulling here. Git pull, oops, see development. Nope, any iPhone 5 stuff, that's fine. Six plus. Oh, okay. But the schematic is the bad one. Really? But the thing is, if it's got an RF suffix, then you would think it'd have something to do with the RF section, and it doesn't. Does it? Let's have a look. FL 237. Next one. Yes, it's 5. It's got nothing to do with RF. So I would say the schematic is correct in this instance. Anyway, without that line running properly, you will not get your screen. You won't get a drive on the screen, so it will start out showing a display, and then it will fade out to black usually. At least I'm pretty sure that's the right line. LCM. Alright, we'll cut away this overfill. Oh yeah, I mean the connectors themselves are completely botched. It's amazing that that data didn't, well, the data probably has destroyed many phones. But I can feel this is very crunchy, so we've definitely had a nice size short going on down here. Combination of corrosion and shorting. Oh, and away it goes. I did not really touch that at all, it just flew off free into the breeze. We've also got some long screw damage down here too. That's just hilarious what these people do to these phones. Oh, thanks Rob. So now the sadistic side of me is kind of curious, as when you say you got run over by the truck, did they tumble roll you, or yeah, how did this happen? Inquiring minds want to know. Can we have a 3D reenactment with latest video card quality? Inquiring minds do want to know. Damn thing doesn't want to come off. I'm gonna have to. I'm suspecting the long screw damage isn't that bad on this, but I do want to have a look. Wow, normally that comes off. Oh, sorry folks, you're on full screen. It doesn't look too bad. Certainly this damage here, that is going to stop the screen working after a few seconds. I mean the rest of it's also a bit of a nightmare. Wonder where that route's off to. Yeah, I hope that... Okay. These two are connected, and I can only hope that the veer is connected as well. Hey, Prater. That one seems okay. Now, I'm actually explicitly hoping that we don't see a veer down here. I'm hoping it's over on this side. I'm a little worried about that orange dot in the corner there, because that pretty much is a veer. Bugger. No, you don't. Fortunately, at least if I lose this one, it just connects up here. But even still. Rob, the work on the 6 Plus, well, in fact, the whole 6, 6S, 6, whatever, it's almost never done. So every time you think you got it right... Oh, what the hell's going on here? Damn it. My alcohol dispenser has decided to take the Monday off. It's okay, I have ways around that. I might be lucky, maybe that's not a veer, I'm not sure. One way to find out. I'll just measure to the other point. Patrick Kiefer seems like he's a pro-Rossmann supporter of more flux. Alright. So what we're going to do is, I'll just rotate this around so we can all see. So we have, this pad is completely gone, and okay, so it goes over to C2050. See, unfortunately it's buried at the back of that BGA, and there is really nothing else on this side of the board. So C2050 on that side of the board, well, that kind of makes it no fun at all. I have to take this board out. One Lewis fluxes the entire tube. Actually, that's convenient to finally have that standardized. Because, you know, we talk about micropoles of flux or whatever, but that makes sense that one Rossmann is a tube. I would say in this case, I should really be checking with the person that owns it. I would classify this as a data recovery only job now. The level of damage in the phone is such that no matter what I do with it, it's probably going to catastrophically fail in the next couple of months. You know what you look doing, Paul? I don't think you do. TX3, I've so got to mark these better. I probably should put a color band like on the end cap or something like that, so I can just look and know what type of driver I'm after without having to put any extra effort, as it were, into it. But yeah, there's just too much corrosion on this one. I mean, there's also looking like corrosion under the shields. So it's not a good candidate for return to daily use at all. Not to mention the fact that it is a 6 Plus, so therefore we'll probably have a long screw somewhere in about it. What is going on there? We need to spray some WD-40 onto that. And that's not WD-40. Just trying to clear out the blade recess on that, because that's getting close to being rounded out. Hey, Sri Lanka. That might have to be little edge cutters to get that out. Dun, dun, dun. And guess what, I was doing the wrong one. Oh, damn it. Oh well, the other one was also really hard to get out. Not a lot of meat left on this head. Okay. Hopefully it should be enough that we can now just unscrew it. There we go. Yeah, you can see all the rust coming out from underneath. Hot air could potentially help. I say potentially. Could also make things worse, because the aluminium will actually probably expand faster than the steel. Which, yeah, I suppose if you heat the frame, it should let go of the steel screw a bit faster, but I'd consider it to be subjective at best. Right, and that screw doesn't want to come out. This poor phone has just been through hell. It deserves to actually be put into its resting place, if you ask me. Hey, Bredo79. Yeah, look, we've got corrosion there. Amazingly nothing there. Amazingly nothing on the Wi-Fi. Okay, so the cap the point we want to be able to test at for continuity is inside here. And the feel of the glue holding this at the moment makes me think that, yeah, it's not going to be pretty. Let's try a little bit of heat just to soften it up. Yeah, Bob.
Did you want food or a little bit later?
What are we offering?
Bacon and eggs?
Sure, I'll take that. So what, about 10 minutes? Okay, thanks. Awesome. Getting food. It's home delivery, homemade. I don't know why I'm being pedantic with this. It never goes back on properly anyway. Breakfast for lunch. That'll do. Hey Jane, Zimmy, let's see, you just watched 2 Dodgy Brothers clips. Can you even understand anything they're saying? Because they're pretty crazy. Yeah, very crazy. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. The cap we want is under that. You lousy little... Lousy. Bretto, yes it is, Bretto. Since you've identified yourself. Bretto, what do you want to do with this? Because I really wouldn't put this back into service. There's just too much damage to it. A lot of things have been broken. Yeah, it's just not pretty. And Bretto, do you do metalwork, grinding, things like that? Because there's a good dose of it around the camera. Have a look at this. That, yep, looks like some nice grinding action that's being collected by the magnet. Alright, so now I need to be able to test to see whether that cap there, next to the long screw damage point, is actually connected with a veer, or whether we're going to have to run a veer to be able to get our 5v7 across. So I'll start out by putting a very fine wire on the end of that. Actually, I might put it on the other side. Hey Bryce. Okay, Bretto, was there any data on here that you wanted? Well, this is a combination of foreign object damage, physical damage, like all these smashed connectors, liquid damage down here, broken damage there on that connector being torn completely off in half, actually, more liquid, and then of course the actual filter damage we've got on the other side. And at the end of all this, we'll probably have to, it probably wouldn't be a dumb idea to fix up Mason. No, nothing worth keeping? Alright, okay, well, Bretta, do you mind if we just play around with it anyway, and give you due thanks for sending it in, and we can see if there's anything we can learn from this, if that's okay by you, or I can just ditch it. You're right with that? Cool. Okay, thanks for dropping in and answering the questions for me. Yeah, it came in this morning. I was very happy. I don't normally get packages on Monday morning because of the delivery system around here. So now you're saying there was no backlight on it, and I'm pretty sure what it actually is the lack of the 5V7 line we have here means that the LCD, with LCDs you have to constantly flip the polarity of the actual driving member. I forget which part of the LCD it is, but you have to basically drive it up and down, you know, positive, negative, positive, negative. Otherwise what happens is that it will just start fading to black as all the elements get stuck in a overdrive situation. And the 5V7 is one of the lines that is driving that back and forth. And without it, so you end up with at least I could be stuffing up on my memory here, but I'm pretty sure. Okay, so we've got the wire on that one. This is the time when I need my alligator clip. Hey, fixing things? Thanks for that, Brett. I really appreciate that. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get some life out of it. But like I said, I definitely wouldn't dare use this as a daily driver anymore. Okay, so just testing I've got continuity. Okay, that's good. Let's see. Now we're hoping we have it here. And we do not. Boo! That sucks. That's no good. Okay, so what that means is that we did have a veer down in there, down in this corner here, but it's burned away, and we have to run a wire from there across to the other side. So let's do that. Of course my breakfast, lunch, whatever I want to call it, might be ready in a few minutes, so I may have to come back to this later. Vince, right. It was a very interesting sort of level of damage. Did you have someone replace the screen a couple of times, or... I'm kind of curious as to... And the battery's been replaced too, I say. But I am curious as to the history of it. Oh yeah, did you say that you do grinding and stuff like that? Like metalwork, filing, anything like that? Because it really, really has had a bit of a run on that. Where's my wire spool? Damn it. Oh, hidden behind the Vaseline. Okay, the screen was replaced and the battery at some stage, and if you own the phone is a Boilermaker. Bingo. Yep, that's it. Yeah. I get quite a few people around here in Charters Towers who have similar work professions, and you pretty much need to go through them each time and clear them out with magnets. So good, that solves that mystery for me, thank you. Okay, so that's that. Now because this is enamelled wire, we're not going to have any trouble with... Did I get the right frickin' cap? Okay, so that... goes to that one. Ah, okay, yep, cool. Yeah, we can't get to this here because there's a shield sitting over there and it's a bit pointless. So we're going to go for this one, which is of course a very well exposed cap. Easy to get to. Just means we do a little bit of a horizontal jump here, but it's not bad. Right, when you want a big blob on the end of a part, you can't do it. When you don't want it, it's more than happy to do it. Come on. Got it. Pushing off the bottom of the screen for most people. Sorry. Thinking I'm gonna put a little bit of extra length into this, and then when I put that filter back, I might be able to double up my strength of the connection. Right, so now we need to know what that part is. This one here. Okay, so it's a 80 ohm 0.2.4. It's not really even going to be critical, that. Let's see if I've got something similar. Nope, 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 nope. Straight jacks, nope. USBs, nope. I don't know what these are. What are you guys? You TriStars or something? This is the bad part about buying parts from some random places, is that, oh no, they're Tigris, aren't they? I don't know. Because they put random numbers like this on it, it doesn't explicitly tell you what it is. So FL 24, 25, 26, but that can be of a different board entirely. I don't actually have a lot of 6+ boards, so that's why I'm looking for actual filter parts. Tranquil the Cat, I have heard of it in casual passing, but I really don't have any opinion or knowledge about it. It's just unfortunate that there are so many things going out there in the world, and it's near impossible to keep up anything other than a very narrow selection of your profession. And you feel genuinely a little bit, I wouldn't say stupid or anything, but you feel a little bit like you're like, wow, yeah, maybe I should know more about this, but there's just no time at the end of the day. Let's see. Any second now, my wife's going to walk in and say, breakfast is ready. Even though it's 1:30 in the afternoon, but hey, that's us. We very bad for schedules, do not exist very well for us. And then I'm going to jump up and probably say something like, so long, suckers. Thanks for all the fish. These are the Union Repair ultrafine tweezers. I'm not saying their name because they're paying me or anything, but I know there are people who want to know what these sort of superfine tweezers are, and just let you know in advance. I do not get any kickbacks or anything from Union Repair at all. I'll blast you, you loose something something. Oh yeah, good thing I did. Okay, we've got a problem there because that pad has pulled from the board. It's a little bit loose. Oh, I'm not a fan of Brinner. My wife loves Brinner, but I am not a fan. I do like a dinner for dinner. Oh great, ruining this now. Should have put this board into a holder. Alright, that's probably gonna just hold. But yeah, if you get these twiz, they're 100 times better than those stupid blue titanium ones that never did anything useful. Arnold, it's not loose on the pad is actually loose on the board. It's the pad itself is pivoting off the actual board. So that's why we're going to just leave this be as it is. We're not going to stuff around with it too much more. Let's see if we get any backlight now. Everything else on this is damaged, so give me a real suck it and see type situation. Okay, please tell me I've got a 6 plus here. 10, 6. Come on. I should have 6 plus. 6S. 6S plus. Nope. 6 plus. And by the way, for those who are concerned, I already have set the power output from the power supply back to the proper value for phones, so we're not going to have an unceremonious explosion. Where's the other connector? You have to make sure to recap the ends of these banana plugs, otherwise you do have exposed connectors carrying power. That's not much fun. Okay, so we'll try to plug this on. It's going to be a little bit fun because we do have the broken connector, so things are going to feel a little weird. May feel a little pressure. Okay, got 0, power on. We're still drawing 0, that's generally a good sign. So if we might be booting. Yeah, we've got a boot, we've got a display. I suppose I should cover this for discretion. Yeah, magic smoke. I've got a spare can somewhere around the place. So it'd be interesting to see if it actually boots all the way. Come on. Taking its time. It is doing a normal boot. Yep, there we go. But our screen is still fading out. Where is it? So it's like our 5v7's actually burned through. Let's try it again. See if we get the boot. My guess is the 5v7 is burned through or something, and we're not getting it. Let me just put this over here. Precariously drop that there. Get my multimeter. Find out that I don't have my pointy points. Damn it. 1. Where's my other pointy point? 2. Voltage. Yeah, we're probably not going to see 5v7 there, are we? Oh, we do. My bad. And then it's gone. Okay, something's causing that to play out. Alright, so it looks like a really complicated sort of problem up ahead. I am going to try and beat my wife to coming in here because it's a long trek from the other side of the house where the kitchen is. So I'm going to close up. Thank you very much for sticking around. That's 2 things we got done today, at least partially. We fixed the trackpad to problem. Oh yeah, that's right, yeah, we fixed up that as well, the connector. And at least we sort of got an idea that this iPhone is pretty much going to go straight into the bin, but it's a bit of fun to sticky beak around and see what's going on. So you all take care, and until the next time, be well. Don't cause too much trouble. I will. And if you can, like, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Whatever you want to do. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you don't like the video, press the thumbs down twice to make sure I really know about it. I'll catch you later.